scrolling. If someone can make you angry, silent, guilty, or desperate on command, you are not in control of your life. You are being trained, conditioned, played, and the most dangerous part, you probably think you're just emotional, loyal, or empathetic. You're not. You're predictable. Machiavelli warned about this centuries ago. The person who controls your emotions doesn't need to control you physically. They already own you. Watch carefully, because once you see how this game is played, you will never react the same way again. They don't try to dominate you directly. They watch, they wait, they study your reactions. Because real control doesn't come from force. It comes from emotion. The moment someone can make you angry, defensive, guilty, hopeful, or desperate, they don't need power anymore. They already have it. Silence after a message, a delayed response, a subtle insult disguised as a joke, a compliment followed by withdrawal. None of it is accidental. These are not social mistakes. They are psychological probes, and most people fail the test without realizing one is happening. They explain, they chase, they react, they reveal, and every reaction hands over another piece of leverage. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago, not because he was cruel, but because he was observant. He saw that men are not ruled by reason, but by emotion, and whoever controls emotion controls fate. The world doesn't break you with violence. It breaks you with pressure. Pressure to respond, pressure to prove, pressure to be understood, pressure to be liked. That's why the calm ones always rise, the ones who don't react, don't defend, don't explain, don't reveal. They terrify people without saying a word, because emotional danger is not chaos, it is control. And once you master it, no one can pull your strings again. Stay with this, because what you're about to hear will change how you see every interaction for the rest of your life. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I am emotionally untouchable. 1. The invisible war for emotional control. Most people believe manipulation looks obvious. It doesn't. Real manipulation feels like care, concern, love, interest. It begins with attention. Someone listens closely, not to understand you, but to map you. They notice what excites you, what angers you, what makes you insecure, what makes you seek approval. They collect this information quietly. Then one day, they use it. They pull away just enough to make you doubt yourself. They imply disappointment instead of stating it. They say things like, "You've changed," or "I thought you were different." Those aren't observations. They're weapons. Guilt is the favorite tool of emotional manipulators. Because guilt bypasses logic. You stop thinking. You start compensating. You explain when you don't owe explanation. You chase when you should stand still. You soften boundaries you set for a reason. That's how power transfers. Machiavelli wrote that men are driven by fear and desire. Manipulators blend both. They make you afraid of losing them and desperate to regain their approval. But here's what they never expect. They never expect calm. Anger is predictable. Sadness is exploitable. Defensiveness is confirmation. But calm is unreadable. When you stop reacting, the game collapses. They accuse you of being cold, distant, heartless. Not because you are, but because they've lost access. Silence is terrifying to manipulators, because silence reflects their tactics back at them. They perform, you observe, they escalate, you remain still, and in that stillness, the power returns to you. Detachment is not apathy, it is intelligence. You don't withdraw emotion because you don't feel. You withdraw because not everyone deserves access. Your emotions are currency. Spend them where there is respect, not strategy. Once you see the pattern, it stops working, because manipulation only survives on ignorance. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I see through manipulation. 2. Machiavelli's law. Emotion is weakness when uncontrolled. People romanticize emotion. They mistake intensity for authenticity, but Machiavelli saw what most refuse to admit. Uncontrolled emotion is exposure. Every visible reaction is information. Your anger reveals triggers. Your excitement reveals desire. Your fear reveals leverage. People don't need to defeat you when they can predict you. Machiavelli warned that men judge more by appearances than reality, which means whatever you display becomes truth in their eyes. The emotionally expressive believe they are being honest. In reality, they are being readable. And readable people are controllable. When you react immediately, you surrender initiative. When your mood dictates your choices, you surrender authority. Power requires delay, distance, calculation. This doesn't mean becoming cruel. It means becoming measured. You can feel anger without acting on it. You can feel love without chasing it. You can feel fear without obeying it. That discipline is what separates leaders from followers. History is filled with figures who smiled while furious, stayed silent while insulted, and acted only when it served them. They were not emotionless. They were disciplined, and discipline creates unpredictability. Unpredictability creates power. That's why emotionally dangerous people unsettle others. They don't behave as expected. They don't explode. They don't collapse. They don't seek validation. They wait. And waiting unnerves people who rely on emotional leverage. Drop this affirmation in the comments. My emotions serve me. 3. What it means to be emotionally dangerous. Being emotionally dangerous does not mean being cold. It means your emotions no longer betray you. You feel deeply, but privately. You experience pain, but silently. You process internally without broadcasting weakness. Because the moment someone sees what troubles you, they gain leverage. Emotionally dangerous people are unreadable. Their face reveals nothing. Their tone reveals nothing. Their body language reveals nothing. This creates uncertainty, and uncertainty paralyzes manipulation. People hesitate around those they can't predict. They second-guess. They overthink. They reveal themselves. Mystery is not an accident. It is cultivated. Machiavelli understood that those who cannot be read cannot be easily controlled. Emotionally dangerous people do not chase approval. They do not explain their worth. They do not perform for validation. They observe. They allow others to expose intentions through behavior. They do not rush to respond. They let silence do the work. Calm becomes their armor, restraint becomes their weapon, and presence alone commands respect. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I control my inner storm. 4. The 5 steps to emotional control. Emotional mastery is not suppression. It is command. Step 1. Pause. The pause is power. Every second you delay reaction increases your leverage. Step Step 2, replace emotion with strategy. Ask yourself, what benefits me most right now? Step 3, train your triggers. Know what destabilizes you so it no longer can. Step 4, control expression, face, posture, tone. If they can't read you, they can't guide you. Step 5, say less. Words are weapons. Use them sparingly. Silence forces others to fill the space, and what they reveal becomes your advantage. Master these 5 steps, and you become untouchable. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I act with calm power. 5. Build your emotional fortress. Your mind is territory. Most people leave it unguarded. They allow opinions, insults, and manipulation inside. A fortress has layers. Awareness filters entry. Detachment creates distance. Discipline enforces structure. Self-respect guards the gates. Resilience repairs damage. Inside this fortress, you are sovereign. Chaos may exist outside, but it has no authority within. Machiavelli advised studying the great strategists of history, not to imitate cruelty, but prudence. That's why texts like The Prince, the Discourses, The Art of War, and Meditations are essential. Real power begins internally. You'll find all the book links in the description. Drop this affirmation in the comments. My mind is untouchable. 6. Maintaining emotional power. Emotional power is daily maintenance. Observation without exposure. Restraint without resentment. Detachment without apathy. People will test you. They will provoke. They will guilt. They will bait. Remain still. Consistency builds reputation. Eventually, people learn you are not a target. That is dominance. If you want real power, start with the books most people never read. Influence and Manipulation, The Art of War, Meditations, The Republic, Nietzsche's works, The 48 Laws of Power, Machiavelli's writings. All links are in the description. Knowledge sharpens awareness. Awareness sustains control. Drop this final affirmation in the comments. No one controls me. If this changed how you see human interaction, apply it today. Guard your reactions. Protect your inner world. Because once your emotions belong only to you, no one can control your life. True power always starts within.